and your children are turned into mindless vassals who now they look up to some twit instead of looking up to Thomas Jefferson or looking up to Nikola Tesla or looking up to Magellan. I mean, kids, Magellan's a lot cooler than Justin Bieber. He circumnavigated with one ship the entire planet. He was killed by wild natives before they got back to Portugal. And when they got back, there was only like 11 people alive of the 200 and something crew, and the entire ship was rotting down to the waterline. That's destiny. That's will. That's striving. That's being a trailblazer, an explorer, going into space, mathematics, quantum mechanics, the secrets of the universe. It's all there. Life is fiery with its beauty. It's incredible detail. Tuning into it. They want to shatter your mind talking about Justin Bieber.
Hello out there. We're on the air. We are indeed on the air. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy frickin' Friday. To say I had actually, it wasn't even an eventful morning. It was just, I don't know, lost track of life today. That's the best way I can explain it. I lost track of life. You ever have that happen? It looks like Noster is down again today. Frick. So one thing I was doing right before the show here was I was trying to get this OBS to work. So I'll see. I'm going to give it a shot right now quick. So bear with me for a couple minutes here. But this one settled the bearish case for Bitcoin. The bearish case for Bitcoin. I haven't looked through the comments yet, but I'm sure there's some yak back going on. Open, yes. Open OBS. Holy man, what's going on here? Request access. Oh yeah, allow. I don't know if it's going to allow me to do both here at the same time. I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if this is going to work. We'll see. Oh yeah, this is too much for me right now. Not going to happen today. Sorry, Noster. I don't know why that's happening, because it looks like other people are working on Noster. I wonder why they're keeping me off. Anyways, today we're talking about the bearish case for Bitcoin. I had the thumbnail, I think, was the Bitcoin risk. And it's not so much a bearish case for Bitcoin, actually, the more I think about it. It's just something I've been thinking about recently. Actually, Brandon and I even had our show talking about this on Monday, which was like just really playing things out, because I think that Bitcoiners, myself included, are kind of guilty of just assuming things are going to happen without really understanding the consequences of that, or I guess the second order of it. So what I really wanted to do today is just kind of talk through a couple thoughts in my mind about the future of Bitcoin, what it looks like. Do we need banks? Do we need visas? Do we need credit? So we'll see. We'll see how she goes today, but let's start off with some comments here. How about that? Let's get through them. I see a lot here. Scotty Boy's here. Is this the right place to celebrate a Zap anniversary? Was it 1 year ago today, Scotty? The first Zap you sent to the show? Is that what you mean? I think you mentioned that yesterday. But is that what you're referring to? Susan is here. Sue, second in the chat today. Wow, look at that. Scotty Boy and Sue pulling the sled here. It's Friday. Oh, I got my mug the wrong way. Let's fix that. There we go. It's still freaking gloomy here, man. Summer is hopefully going to arrive at some point. It's kind of shitty too, because spring's usually like a pretty good season here in Canada, because the bugs aren't here yet. So we usually get some nice weather, and it's coming out of winter after 7 months of hibernation. So you're usually pretty excited to get outside. But it's just been so brutal here. It's depressing. It really is. It's depressing because we only have like 3 months of summer as it is. And when every day that goes by that it's like this is just like, had to cancel our golf yesterday. I was getting ready to go and got a message saying the course was closed because it was so cold and windy, which takes a lot to do. It takes a lot to do here in May for a course to shut down because it's too cold and windy. But it was. So anyways, we're as I was getting ready for the show today, I started feeling a little bit different in a good way. Because it's always, every time I come in here, there's always people in the chat. There's always some funny comments. Energy's always good. I don't know what it is about the people that show up here, but no issues. No issues on my end, even though we're a little bit behind. Short stream today from the well, it could be. We'll see. Jake's here. Good morning, Jake. Sats and Sunsets. Good morning. Rich. Good morning. Praetorian. All the boys and girls are here today. We got the Smith. We got the Guardian. Let's see who else is here. The redheaded Ginger, we'll say. The redheaded Ginger's here too. Good morning, Ginger. Good to see you, man. Chuck's here on time for a change. Well, maybe it's because I'm a little bit late. I don't know. Sorry about that. Shout out to Uncle Lou. Loose Spoothall. Loose Spoothall. Shout out to Loose Spoothall. Am I pronouncing that wrong? Loose Spoothall. Okay, loose. What's this gonna be? Loose pool. Oh my God. Captain's here. Good morning, Captain. Good to see you. Happy Friday, my man. Stripes is here. Eatable Zebra. Good morning, everyone. Bitcoin has a bearish case. I know. Hard, eh? Side question. Do we know if George Riz wallet is resecured? Yes, it is resecured. Been resecured for a whilst now, we'll say. It's got a password from my cold card, Q. So I don't think anybody's going to be able to crack that one. Whoa, what the fuck happened here? Pardon my language. What happened here? What is this? Okay, that's why Praetorian was wondering. Oh, that's okay. I gotcha. Okay, that makes more sense now. Give me a heart attack there, Praetorian. So Praetorian sent a payment in. We'll call the payment. We'll call the Zap, though. But scared me there. But yes, it has been received, Praetorian. So thank you, man. He said, Jor, thanks for everything. This is my payment for, you know what? Kind regards, Praetorian. I was going to say, holy man, that's a good start to the day. It is either way. Thank you, Praetorian. Received, my friend. Yes, it is secured, but I'll be getting it off there. I should probably do that right now, actually, because it's secure. Like I said, I put a new password on there that was generated by my cold card queue. So it's a pretty strong password and completely random too. And I would encourage anybody out there, it's just kind of a side note right now. If you are using something like a Rizful wallet, Coinos wallet, something like that, where you have like a username and password for it, I would strongly consider, learn from my mistakes here, to generate like a random password. Don't use like your usual online banking account, your YouTube account, create a completely random one that you don't even memorize, and use that for your Lightning wallet. Because you don't want to be like me. I lost a significant amount of sats. That was about 2 months ago now. That was in March. So I learned my lesson the hard way so that you don't have to. But so I'm going to get that off of, even though my password's good on there, I just feel more comfortable having it like an Aqua wallet or something with 12 words attached to it. So I'm gonna put that in there right now, Praetorian. Thank you, brother. Oh yeah. Okay, there we go. Paulo's here. Paulo, LITF. Paulo living in the future. Good to see you, man. How the heck are you? How the heck are you, Paulo? Satstrat, hey, Joe, have you heard of Avon BTC credit card? Because it's so cool to finally see a way to affordably borrow against Bitcoin in California at reasonable APR and not need to lock up a ton of Bitcoin. Cool. I've never heard of that. Avon. But I'm also not in California, so I don't have the ability to access it. But that's good. Yeah, because Cali's been locked out. I wonder why, though. It kind of makes you wonder, right? It kind of makes you wonder why Avon would be able to, but not anybody else. I always like, you know what I mean? You always get to question things like that. It's like, why would all these other companies have such a hard time getting that ability to do in California, but why would Avon be able to? Just a question to ask. Not saying that they're a bad actor or anything like that. It's just you got to be careful with it. You got to be careful with this stuff. That's the whole point. That's the point. Look at this. I thought it was Jenny actually that sent that. I was just looking through that, looking through the irreversible wallet. Maria says, good morning, Jor, and all happy Friday from Maria 7000. So Maria, 7K today. There it is right there. She says, good morning, Jor, from Maria 7K. We also got some other ones in here. We got one from Scotty Boy 99. He said, who let the ducks out? Who let the ducks out? Who? Thank you, Scotty Boy. We got one from Chuck. Chuck with a shot of espresso with a little extra on top, a little bit of cinnamon. Says, Fat Zap Friday. Good morning. Thank you, Chuck. Chuck with the shot of espresso plus. We got Maria and we got Jenny, it looks like. Jenny with the wild 7. She says, happy Friday. Woof, woof. Thank you, Jenny. Jenny's new Zap. The 7s. I like it. I like that number. I like the 7. Not quite as good as 8, but it's probably second best. My second favorite number. And we also got some duck food for Arnie Boy from Nico, which was a reverse Jenny Zap. A reverse Jenny Zap, which you could do the math. And we got another one here. Oh, no. Sorry, I missed Chuck here. Somebody said, good morning, Fat Zap Friday. That was 5420. That must have been David T. I'm going to guess that was David T. based on the 420 at the end. And Chuck, you know, I might have to, Cypher was here yesterday, but Chuck's also been fairly consistent with the shot of espresso. And Chuck also starts with C. So it'll be, I'm actually not going to replace Cypher, but I'm going to add Chuck to the C list for the DCA, the daily coffee. So thank you, Chuck. We also got one yesterday, I believe this was from Bill. From Bill to Arnie Boy. I think that was yesterday. Yeah, it was. So shout out to Bill. Shout out to Bill. And the 6102 attack to Arnie Boy's wallet. And we just got another big one come through the airwaves here for the Fat Zap Friday. God, this is freaking good. I wish I could just drink this instead of water. You know? Like, water's so freaking boring. I don't know. Why is everything in life that's good for you boring and lame? Why is that? Is it because they have to? I don't know. But maybe because they have to chemically alter things to be good. That doesn't even make sense, though. But even nature, I watched this documentary. I don't know why this stuck with me, but I watched this documentary like 10 years ago, probably now. And it was about animals, like nature. And it was like even animals find a way to like alter their mind. You know what I mean? Like humans use alcohol, coffee, nicotine, drugs probably being the biggest one. But animals do it too. They do it like by hitting things on their head and stuff, which is wild. Thankfully, we don't have to do that. But that is it'd be a cheaper way to do it. There are some cheap ways to chemically alter your mood, I think. Hand soap, hand sanitizer. Oh, God. Anyways, the Lord is my shepherd, shall not want. The Lord is my shepherd, shall not want. Good morning, Bitcoin fam. Good morning. 1943 Marco says, let's face it, Jore's the best. That's my burner account. 1943 Marco. Cheers, Marco. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Jenny's here. She says, good morning in the background. Okay, Jenny, have yourself an amazing Friday today, okay? Stop in when you got some time. She says, Praetorian, he thinks it is. Arnie gave me all the words to it. There's no words, Jenny. I guess there is, but it's a password. Are we there yet? I don't know, Buck52. Where are we going to? Where are we going to? Bark twice, Arn, if you got access to George's wallet. Oh, Sharon B. She just said Jen. She didn't even say hello. Jenny, what's going on? Jenny, Sharon is here. We got everyone. Holy man. Agent 99, happy Zap-anniversary. Zap-anniversary. You should send me zaps to celebrate. Sharon B, what's going on? You didn't even say this. You didn't even say good morning this morning. You started off with a Jen. Nice to see you. Wow, we got 50 people over in the Rumble stream today. 17 people up. That's very percentage there. So if you like what we're doing here, very easy thing to do. Too easy almost. Free to do. We got a lot of support here from the community, but if you don't have the ability, I get it. Don't worry, I get it. But you could at least leave a thumbs up on Rumble. You could at least join us on Rumble. You could at least leave a nice little comment under the videos to say, Jor, man, your beard looked really good today. And what the words that were coming out of your mouth were second to none. Those are free things you can do. Or just leave a little heart, just leave a little heart. You got to support one way. If you want this thing to succeed, and not just my channel, of course, but Bitcoin in general. Bitcoin's all about the team Bitcoin. So what is your spot on the team? That's what you got to ask yourself. And are you playing the role? Anyone else trying to choose a duck to represent them? Just me. Scotty boy, I was watching the ducks the other day, and I have no idea why, but I was just like fascinated. I couldn't stop watching. I didn't find a duck that was me, but I was watching how they interacted with each other. Mambo Jambo, also known as our guy Conrad. Unfortunately, the Nosters are down, so Conrad's over on Rumble today. But that's okay. We're happy to have you here, Conrad. Says, good morning, beautiful electromagnetic beings. Good morning. Sats and Sunsets, what's he doing here? Gave a membership to Mambo Jambo. So shout out to Sats and Sunsets. That's actually one of the most, I've told you this before, but the memberships on Rumble are probably the best way to support the show that aren't in Bitcoin way. Obviously, we love the zaps. Nothing will beat zaps. But if you don't have the ability to do that with your Bitcoin, or you don't want to, the memberships on Rumble are really good for the channel. So thank you. Big shout out to Sats and Sunsets today. Shout out to all the feds and shout out to all the reds. Amen to that. Lori's here. Lori's over on YouTube today. What the heck, Lori? But we got 3 4-leaf clovers there. Good morning, Lori. Nice to see you. Plebinator, how we doing today? Plebinator, how we feeling? What are we into today? He says, G is Chad. You know, I don't know. Is G Chad? It's been really interesting to watch those two guys interact and talk to each other and kind of what's shaking out there. Really interesting. You see a lot of people right now. I've been paying attention to what people are talking about these last couple of days. And people are in just disbelief. People are in disbelief that Xi and Trump are getting along so well. But you know, if you take a slightly different angle to it, if you keep an open mind, there might be something else going on here that I don't know about, that you don't know about. That's what it seems like to me, and that's actually going to tie a little bit into what we're talking about today. Because that's what it seems like is playing out. We've been talking about that for a long time on this channel. And I don't know if it's just my bias, my lens of the world that's seeing things, but like it really seems like everything's kind of falling in line with what we've been talking about for these last couple of years. And so I actually want you to think about this. I want you to think about this for a second. Because when you think that there's a lot of people out there, my friends and family included, who really believe, mostly Canadians, and it's funny. I think Americans have a much different view of the world. America kind of pays attention to America, and that's about it. Whereas everybody else around the world, we pay attention to our country and America, right? I think that most people here would agree with that. I know the majority of the audience here is from America, but if you're from outside of America, that's kind of the case. And Americans, you might be able to confirm that you mostly pay attention to what's happening in the US, maybe China, but not really, I don't think. But it's funny because the US feel like they're in danger. They feel like they're in danger because, you know, they're brainwashed. Americans are brainwashed for the most part. A lot of people here that watch the show, maybe not so much, but for the most part, Americans are very brainwashed by the media there. By the media and all the things that they'd see throughout the day. The media, the sports, the politics, the everything, the even the companies in the US. But here's how I see it. Canadians are very worried about globalism. That's like when I talk to my friends and family, most people are concerned about globalism. They're concerned about the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the London bankers, you know, the central bankers. They don't really know that they're the central bankers of the world, but that's who they're most concerned with, like the World Economic Forum, the UN, the WHO. But when you think about it this way, what are the two most important things right now in the world, or sectors, industries? Like what's pushing things forward right now? Where's all the capital flowing into? Where's all the capital, influence, and attention flowing into right now? I'd say two things: tech, energy. And so when you think about who's kind of at the head of that globalism, the central bank system, who's at the head of that? London, the UK, Europe. Does Europe have when was the last time there was a big tech company that came out of Europe? When was the last time that there was a huge tech innovation that came out of Europe? They don't have also that's the other thing too. Europe, the UK is extremely low on energy. You know, there's a lot of Germans who watch this show, and I love Germans. Actually, every German that I've come in contact over these last couple of years, I've been a massive fan of. They're great people, but their government and the politicians over there are just insane. So the German government sold all their Bitcoin, and they also shut down all their nuclear power plants. So, I mean, they actually had a chance to be part of it at least, but now it's like I don't think they have any hope in hell to do anything. And so you kind of go back to the real power versus abstract power. So to me, the kings, The UK politicians, that's just abstract power. It's only going to be, it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. And so something's got to give there. I don't know what that looks like. But then you think about countries like America, China, and you say, okay, well, these two countries don't want globalism. I think they made that pretty clear through the years, especially the two governments that are in place right now in the US and China. They don't want globalism. They want nationalism. And who's got the cards? Who has the tech? I mean, who flew over to China this week? Trillions of dollars worth of tech innovators. And who's got the energy? Who's got the oil? Who's investing in energy? That's the thing. It's like you could say Canada's got a bunch of energy, yes, but we're run by the UK. We're run by the kings still. But America has that energy, and they're actually investing in it. So you have the innovation, the tech, and you have the energy. That's real power. And they got a bunch of Bitcoin too that they stole from people, from criminals, we'll call them. But so when you think about it that way, it's like when you look at it kind of right now, it's kind of hard to tell who's winning, who's losing. But when you play this thing out, it's pretty obvious who's going to win this war. And it's going to be the nationalists. And what that looks like, I don't know. Trump's been pretty clear that he wants to take Greenland. He wants to take Canada. And there's going to be nobody that can stop him from doing that. I don't think he wants to do it in like a forceful way. But that's what it's going to come to, in my opinion. Because it just makes sense. It's just logical. Again, we're moving into this world now where we're starting to see the real power versus the abstract power. Some dipshit, some 85-year-old dipshit sitting in a costume with a crown on, that's abstract power. They have nothing. They have nothing. Tell me what they have. And when I think about the UK and the king and the crown and all that bullshit, very similar to the Federal Reserve, which is really where it came from. It's all just abstract power. It's all abstract. Whereas there are countries out there, like the US, like China, like Russia, that have real power. And so the abstract power only goes so far. It's not sustainable. It doesn't win wars. And so that's kind of what we're going to see play out here, I think, over the next couple of years, is real power wins. And the cool thing is, like, if you subscribe to the software theory, the Jason Lowry, that long show we did last month, then there's nothing more powerful than Bitcoin in the sense of real power. So that the good news for like people like me and you is like, we don't really have to get caught up in that shit. We can just hold Bitcoin in cold storage, and we don't have to answer to anybody. How are they going to get my Bitcoin? No matter what I say, no matter what I do, really. There's obviously consequences in terms of being in a jail cell, but they still can't take, they can't take what's in here, and they can't take what I've earned in life, which is a pretty big deal. That's real power. That's real power. So, yeah, I mean, Xi is for sure. But, based on the conversations and the interactions, I think that Xi feels the same way towards the American administration. All right, I got to buzz through a few of these. Antonis, good morning. Sat Stacker, good morning. Relentless Acres, good morning. BTC Backpacker says, hi, Jor from Flipper. Flipper, good morning. You're eating breakfast with me from Flipper. Good morning, good morning, Flipper. What's for brekkie today? Probably something crazy. Probably like an eggs Benedict, pancakes. If the meals are anything like the pictures, I'm guessing it's pretty good. So good morning, Flipper. Good morning, and Hodler too, and Anonymous, and Fanny. Jor, we got her. Yes, we got her. We got her. 65 sats. That's the big zap that came through from Arnie Boy, Arnie's wallet. The Mark Friday zap says happy May 24th. And it is the biggest one of the day so far. So thank you, Mark. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Stewie, the boys. I appreciate it very much. Always a nice a nice thing on Friday from Mark. Cheers, Mark. Appreciate you, man. Very much. Check Riz and bone broth for you in Luxter. Thank you, Chuck. Okay, let's keep her rolling here. Paradigm's here. Good morning, Paradigm. Oh, yes, Praetorian. Thanks for sending that, man. We got her. She arrived safely, and it's in the cold storage now. Wow, we got 62 freaking people on Rumble. We're going to get to 100 one day. I know it. You know, it's funny because last time there was a bull run, we had 100 people on YouTube. And that was a really big deal for me. That was also 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. That was November 2024. But 100 people on YouTube was a big deal for me, triple digits. And I think we're going to do it on Rumble. And that's going to be a big one because I've just been kind of pushing things uphill as hard as I possibly can on Rumble. But the people have been showing up there. So God bless everybody over in Rumble. 62 people there right now. People are still having a hard time finding the like button over there, but that's okay. That's okay. Kev's here. We got 2 Kevs. We got Kev 1, we got Kev 2, or Kev 1 and Kev 2. I don't know. But Kachok says, hey guys on YouTube today. What the heck? Good to see you, man. I was having a debate on Bitcoin capitalism versus socialism. What do you mean? What's the debate? Bitcoin capitalism versus Bitcoin socialism. Happy Friday, visionaries. Yes. You need that 2FA hardware. You know, I was actually in the process of ordering one of those last night, and I just keep getting distracted. It's a problem. It's a problem. But I do want to say this. Because speaking of distractions, one of the things that I've been doing, that I had been doing pretty much for the last, 6 months to a year, is it's funny because I told Jerry this too. Every time I'm in the shower, I'm listening to something. I got a speaker in the bathroom. I connect my phone. Mornings, I usually listen to music. And then at nighttime, after when I shower at night, I usually put on some sort of a podcast. And I told Jerry, I'm like, Jerry, you're too much politics in here. I can't get into a good mental creative space when you're talking about politics. So it was kind of funny. But so I stopped listening to Jerry when I was in the shower, which is funny to even say, listening to Jerry in the shower. But so I kind of switched to these other podcasts. Ones that kind of got me thinking, got me in a good creative space. But the last week or so, I just wanted to try this because I don't know. I like experimenting with different things. I think it's good. You got to switch things up once in a while. But I've been showering with nothing on, just pure silence, just my own thoughts. And I'll tell you, it's significantly better. I mean, I'm still only a week into it, so it might be just a new thing. But I've noticed I've gotten significantly more, and that is kind of weird because that's really where all my ideas and all my thoughts come from. When you're emailing and when you're editing and when you're doing this and that, you don't really have time to think, to be creative. And so there's only a couple times throughout the day where I really have that opportunity to be silent and still, I guess you'd say. And so I've started to do that in the shower. And I must say, it's a better way to do it, I think. I'm gonna keep with it. I'm gonna stick with it for another couple weeks and see if it kind of peters out or if it gets even better. So that's that's what I've been doing. But I mean, it makes sense when you listen to some of the greatest minds, like the the Rick Rubins, the Phil Knights. They all kind of talk about the Stoics were huge on this, on just like nothing, no noise, no visual, nothing visual, just silence, stillness. That's where all their best thoughts come from. I kind of saw it the other way, where I was listening to things that kind of inspired me to start on a track thinking about something. So it also might lead to like a combination of both. It might be one night listening to something, one night silence. But I would really encourage people, if you don't do this right now, is to find some time during the day, whether it's 30 minutes, whether it's 15 minutes, whether it's 5 minutes, just like turn everything off. Turn the music off, turn the TV off, turn the podcasts off. Just try it out. Try it out. Kev says, Jor, great video yesterday. Thank you, man. It was a good video. So it was a little bit long though. I feel like when they're that length, it reduces the amount of people who are willing to watch it, which is kind of unfortunate. But at the same time, the right people probably watched it. Anybody with an attention span more than 5 minutes. But I appreciate it. I did clip it just in case anybody out there missed the show from yesterday. I clipped it. It was about 35 minutes, I think. So it's on my YouTube channel. I'm going to have some changes coming to my YouTube channel here soon. I got an idea, but I don't want to rush into it. I'm going to think it through, make sure it makes sense, and then execute on it. Duncan's here. LITF, another LITFer. Duncan says, good morning, team. Good morning, Duncan. Good to see you, man. Mark says, happy May 24th, heading out camping for the weekend. Man, Mark, it must be nicer there than it is here, because it's May long this weekend. And just like in true May long fashion, every year here, May long's just cold, cold, cold. I got an itchy back. What the hell happened here now? What the hell happened here now? If you're wondering why there's silence right now, it's because we received another large zap. But who's this from? Wow. Okay. Here we go. So we got a couple things to report here, folks. We got a couple things to report here. So it's funny because yesterday we had an early morning comment from Sats and Sunsets, who said that he can't make the show today, and he was going to make up for it tomorrow. And I kind of figured that something was coming. I don't know, just based on that comment. And so we had a big zap here from Sats and Sunsets, who says number 2 spot on the team. And the reason why he said number 2 spot on the team is because he sent the Jenny zap, which Jenny sent last Friday, minus 1 sat. One sat below Jenny's. So for those who were here last week, Jenny sent a massive zap in. After I kind of taunted her into it. I said, one of these days, Jenny, you're going to add a 6 to the end of that one, at the end of the Jenny zap. And then probably less than 2 minutes later, that's what arrived in the wallet. So Sats and Sunsets just sent the exact same one, minus 1 sat. And he's leaving the spot for Jenny. So thank you, Sats and Sunsets. And not just that, but he bought a membership today on Rumble. And here every freaking day. Every day. And it's one of those things where I could probably spend an entire freaking week thanking people who show up here every day, who contribute to the community, who support the channel. It's been a ride, man. It really has. It's funny. Let me show you something here real quick. I'll show you something real quick. And you'll kind of get a better feel for what I'm talking about here, or what I'm about to say. But if I go here, so this is in the drafts right now. But this is what I was doing yesterday, because like I said, golf got canceled. And so I got into this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start taking these videos off of YouTube slowly. But I started adding them to school for the members over in the Visionaries community, because I want to keep them in a place, and I think they're really fun to look back on. Like this one here. Well, there's a couple here, but like this was the very first stream that we did here. 19 minutes long. 19 minutes long. We had 0 people. 0 people in the chat. This would have been November 2023. And I started off doing like 15 minutes, 19 minutes. They gradually got longer. And people eventually started showing up. So these are all being added to the school community now. They're just fun to look back on. Like I was looking at this one last night. Where was it? A historic day, the Bitcoin ETF. So this is like my recap of the Bitcoin ETF. Backwards hat. But look at that. We got a couple people showed up here, I guess, for the stream. Philip, there'll probably be some recognizable names in here. Rock and Roll used to be here every morning. But yeah, there's probably like 3 people in the chat. There's Jason. Hey, Jason's still here. Jason was one of the original OGs. So big shout out to Jason. But the reason why I'm saying that is like it's been a journey for me. And I inspired by a couple people in Bitcoin, I'd say like Odell being one of them, Gigi being another one, is just kind of trying to do the value for value thing. That's really where I'm going with this. And you know, I just always wanted to take the approach from day one, and you can see that in the streams. I want to take the approach of just showing up. Show up every day, same time, roughly. Hey, Scotty, roughly the same time. And I just wanted to be able to speak freely. Whatever was on my mind, whatever I thought needed to be discussed, good or bad. I didn't have anybody influencing me or paying me or anything. And it's been like that from the very first day. And it's pretty cool. It's just cool that I could do that. I don't know if there's anybody else on YouTube or anything that's doing that, where they're doing daily shows. They you know, some are an hour long, some are 2.5 hours long, and there's no sponsors. It's been tough for sure. And so I just wanted to say, people like Jenny, people like Praetorian, people like Sats and Sunsets, Josh is here every freaking day. Letha has been here from the very beginning. And so they've really made this whole thing possible. And, you know, I've never met Sats and Sunsets. I've never talked to him before, but he's here every day. And he's one of the major reasons why this show happens. And it's cool. It's really cool. I feel like it's been the much harder path, but it's been the most fulfilling for me. And it wouldn't be possible without people here. So thank you, Sats and Sunsets. I really, really, really appreciate that. Frickin' people, man. You frickin' peoples. Now I'm all distraught again. Now I'm all distraught. Hope you enjoy. We're going to win. We are going to win. And, you know, we titled the show today, The Bearish Case for Bitcoin. But here's the thing. Here's the other part of that too, that I think we should be talking about more, is like Bitcoin can't fail now. Bitcoin can't fail. Can't. Why? Because it's just an idea. It's an idea. It's truth. And you cannot stop an idea. You cannot stop the truth. And eventually, even if they somehow, some way figure out a way how to break this network, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? We're just going to throw in the towel and say, you know what? We gave it a good run. We gave it a good run, but we'll just go back. We'll just go back to being slaves. We'll go back to using the money that somebody else can print. It's okay. We only fought for 10, 15, 20 years. Who cares? No. It's never going to happen. And the reason why is the people. The people. And people like Paradigm, people like everybody I just mentioned, the people who show up here every day, the people who want better, the people who understand that we're not owned by anybody. We don't have to obey to anybody. We don't have to answer to anybody. We don't. And I think once you kind of get into that mindset and not look at the world through that lens, because the world from the very beginning of your life is meant to break you down. Every single aspect of your life is coordinated in a way to break you down, to break your spirit. And it's intentional. And they've got away with it for this long, somehow, some way. I don't know. But it's done. It's done. You can do whatever you want to me, but you will never control me. And I think it's just such a freeing mentality, because the world wants you to be in fear. The world wants you to be distracted, and the world wants you to be divided. And I think if you can find a way to kind of conquer those three things, you win. It doesn't matter how much sats you have in your wallet. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Because at some point, the physical being of yourself, the physical representation of yourself is going to be buried below the ground somewhere. So it's the people. It's the people. And so we're going to go through a couple things today that, I wouldn't say I'm concerned about in Bitcoin at all. It's just thinking things through, like the second order of impact. So that's what we're going to go through. I do want to catch up on these frickin' comments, so I hate being this far behind. Santo, good morning. Seems like there's an underlying motive between the two. Yes, it's very hard to ignore, right? I don't know, unless you're brainwashed into thinking a certain way. It's just hard to argue what's really happening right now. Okay, hey, look at this, Santos from Portugal. I was in Portugal a couple of years ago now. And I hopped in a cab and I had a really good conversation with a guy in Portugal for 20 minutes. Got him to download a Bitcoin wallet. I couldn't send him any Bitcoin though, because I didn't have service. But I told him about my channel. I don't know if he ever watched a video or not, but I love Portugal. I could definitely see myself spending some time in Portugal through the year, a couple months, a year maybe. Praetorian, the great land of Canada. Okay, I saw this here. Hold on. We're an hour and 6 minutes into it today. We should probably check on the mempool here as I go through some comments. John J UK says, "Hey George, sorry if I missed it, but why'd you stop the 88 lesson series? I was really enjoying it." It's a good question. We turned it into the 21 lessons instead. It was just it was a lot of work, John. It was a lot of work for me. And it's I show up every day here and just talk about things that are on my mind. And I do have something coming down the road that's might make you scratch that itch for you. But it was just a lot of work, and it didn't feel like it was a real big return for me. You know what I mean? It's just I'm definitely a guy with a very long-term preference in terms of I believe that eventually what you put into the world, you'll get back from it. But it was just a lot of work for me. And it didn't seem like it was worth my time. So what I did instead is I took those exact same, the same ideas, the same, the concepts from 88 lessons, and I converted, I put it through this lens, I guess, through a farmer's eyes. And I said, why don't we just take all these exact same comments or this context here and the concepts and turn it into a course. And so that's what I did. The course actually started this week, Tuesday. called the Digital Homestead Course. And so it's available on the school.com/88 sats. You can join for free. You can join the community for free if you just want a group of Bitcoiners to be spending time with. But the premium members on there get access to that course. So it's basically like that 88 lessons, except it's more in depth and it's more interactive, I guess. People can show up with their microphones, with their cameras. They can ask questions. It's more of a discussion than like a presentation. And there's certain topics that we can discuss on that course versus what I felt comfortable discussing on the public channels. So that there was kind of a mixture of both there. It was a lot of work. I didn't feel like I was getting any sort of like real return from it, from spending so much time. And there was topics that I wanted to talk about, but I didn't feel like I could. And so I just basically took all that, converted it into this digital homestead course, and it's now on School. So you can join for a very, very cheap, very, very cheap cost. For the whole course, it's going to be about less than $200. And what you take away from that, both the knowledge, the conviction, the just a sense of like comfort, a sense of comfort, confidence in what you're storing is actually going to be there in 10 or 20 years when you want to use it. So that's kind of the whole idea of the course, is looking at Bitcoin like farmers look at farmland, and how to be thinking about it, how to utilize it, how to make more of it, how to protect it, all that stuff. It's a really, really cool concept, the course, and first iteration. So probably when I do the course next year, it'll be double, triple, maybe even more the cost, because there's a lot of value that's going to be given out in that course. And part of the community in the course is that if you don't feel like you're getting the value from it, if you think that the $20 a month or $200 for the year is too much, then I'll give it all back, like 100% of it. There's 100% sats back guarantee on the course. That's how confident I am that the value that you're going to receive from that is going to far exceed what you pay to be in there. But you can also join for free too. If you don't care about the course or the content, you can just join for free. And Bitcoin is better with friends. That's the tagline. Ducks fly together. Xi is Trump's daddy. Xi told Trump to his face the USA is a shithole. That's not what I saw. I saw that it was a shithole and that it's turning around. Look at this. Speaking of OGs, James Bond in the chat. Sorry, I'm freaking way behind here. Cypher's here. Good morning. Good to see you, Bond. Adam on YouTube, Adam on Rumble. Good morning. Santos, I need a miner. Does anyone want to give one for free? Highly doubt that. Sato's here. Morning, Bitcoin team. It's damn hard to onboard newbies, but I'm sure they will come someday. Yeah, when they see a need to it. What's this? Sats and sunsets. Another one. Another Memby on the board. Man, Sats and sunsets is going to be making his way up. Showering with nothing on seems like a good move. Yeah. That's what I found. Look at this. Mark agrees. He says, I've found more mistakes in my work designs in the shower than sitting in front of my computer. Why is that? It's because when you're sitting in front of your computer or you're sitting in front of anything, that's a visual distraction for you. There could be something going on, a dog barking or whatever it is. TV's on the background, music playing, lyrics brings you back to another time. You're not there. You're only fully present when you have nothing else going on. No stimulation, no distractions. And so it makes sense. Yeah. Let the subconscious work. That's right. You know, it's amazing to me. And I've been spending some time over these, sorry, Mempool. Actually, I want to see this because we're actually going to go right through the difficulty adjustment here. We might see it live. The difficulty adjustment is happening next block. I've never seen this live before, but we're 3.21% up. Wow. That's bad for the miners and good for the network. And so you know, I don't know how long I'm going to be here today. I should probably start talking about my subject today here right away. But it all kind of ties in with Xi, with China, with Trump, with the U.S., with the difficulty adjustment. Believe it or not, it all kind of ties together into what I'm talking about today. So let's see this. It says in 19 minutes, but it won't be. You know, one of the interesting things that I found from doing these courses, and part of being a member in the Visionaries, is you get the 365 days of Bitcoin course, which is 2025. I did a video every single day on a different topic, and in that we actually went deep into one of Gigi's Bitcoin is Time. I think it was an article. We went through the whole thing. It took like 5 days, but one of the things that he talked about in there is that a good trick question to ask anybody is about Bitcoin, the next block. So everybody kind of knows that this is a really interesting thought. I shouldn't say everybody, but most Bitcoiners know that the blocks come in on average every 10 minutes, right? And so our minds would normally say, okay, well, this block happened 12 minutes ago. Foundry mined this block 12 minutes ago. But yet this next block here, the first block in the mempool, it says it's in about 9 minutes from now. Why is that? Why is that? Why wouldn't it be any time now? Right? If the blocks are supposed to come in on average every 10 minutes, and the last block here was 13 minutes ago, why would this say that it's still 10 minutes? And it's just like if you think about it this way, think about the roulette wheel, where you go up there and you're like, okay, well, you look at the screen. This is kind of this is where my mind went. You look at the screen and it says, okay, the last 10 winners, 5 of them were, or let's say 9 of them were black, 1 of them was red. And so what your mind does is it says, okay, well, you know, statistically speaking here, the last 10 spins, 9 of them have been black. Only 1 of them have been red. And so our minds kind of think, well, the next one has to be red then, because on average it's 50-50 split. So on average, the next spin should be red. But that's not how it works, because they're all completely independent of each other. Everything is independent of each other. When you're working with numbers like this and randomness and entropy like this, every single one is completely random. And so the next block is always approximately 10 minutes away. It doesn't matter if the last block was 2 hours ago. The next block is always approximately 10 minutes from now. So it's kind of cool. And even throughout the digital homestead course. So if you go to the school, if you join as a member on there, you're going to have content, Bitcoin content, different thoughts, different ideas, different technical thoughts. You're going to have content for the next 2 years. There's just so much stuff in there. There's probably like 500 videos just on different Bitcoin topics. But that was one of the more interesting ones. And that was from the mind of Gigi. So this one's taking his time here, But we are at the block height of 949,534. I don't want to miss this here. 949,534. We've never had this happen before on the show, where there's a difficulty adjustment live on the show. So we're not going to miss this. Even if we have to put off my topic until next week. But look at that. Adam got a membership from Sats and Sunsets. Congrats, Adam. Bitcoin 444. Meditation, yeah, that's probably true. But when people think of meditation, they think that they have to do something. I think. I did. Paradigm says, I did that last night with earplugs. It was amazing and peaceful. Wow, if you can do that, even better. If you can put earplugs in. Because really what you want to do there is you want to eliminate all sort of sensory distractions. Kachok's here. Good morning, Kachok, over on Rumble. Mark said, one thing I used to love about road biking, a few hours with nothing but your own thoughts. Yeah, because you can't really you can't really like, I guess you could listen to music, but yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I've tried it many times throughout the years and really haven't had that much success with it. I couldn't really stick with it, but I was overthinking it. I was trying to do too much. And when really what you want to do is do as little as possible. Mainly argued the problem was the money, hence why socialism seems attractive but a detriment to society. Yeah, everything stems back to the money, right? Everything. Okay, come on. Who's gonna hit it? I wonder if there's more value of having a. No, I shouldn't say more value, but you know how like when people want to get their transaction in a block that's like 500,000 or 800,000 or like a halving. I wonder what. I wonder if there's any more demand for a difficulty adjustment block. What else was I going to say on that? Oh yeah, when's the? We're not too far away from block 1 million. That's going to be a big freaking deal in Bitcoin. 1 million blocks. It's funny, after everything that's happened, all the people who have shit on Bitcoin, everybody who has tried to stop Bitcoin, 1 million blocks. Bitcoin doesn't give a shit. Bitcoin doesn't give a shit what you think about it or what you try to do to it. It just is. It's just Bitcoin. It just chugs along. It just chugs along. Mike is here. Micah. Good morning. Nice to see you. Mark says, camping in a trailer, I would not go this weekend. Too old for that. Yeah, amen to that. Amen to that, man. Thank you for the respect, Sats and Sunsets. Jory, you had no idea I was going to do that day, though. It was the best time to do it. Yes, that really. I mean, even freaking. I thought that was you again today, Jenny. But Sats and Sunsets, yeah, gave Jenny the nod there. Took the second place. What a good guy. What a good freaking guy. Philly, happy Friday, Jor, and everyone. Good morning, Philly. Good to see you, man. Marco's making his way through the 365. Okay, well, I'm going to leave those up there then because I got a couple plans for the school. I'm going to be spending the next couple weeks kind of redesigning everything here and setting a couple things up here. I don't want to miss here, though, because we got a couple zaps here. Somebody created an invoice for one sat and never sent it. The only thing worse than sending one sat is creating an invoice for one sat and not sending it. Duncan sent in a DCA this morning, a coffee. And for that, Duncan, we got what? 3,793. So yes, the price of Bitcoin must be down today. It must be dropping. We had Josh. I'm thinking this is Joshua, although there's no message attached to it. Or somebody needs to claim it. I'm going to call Josh for now, but I haven't seen Josh in here. He sent the Josh app, the King's app, the quadruple eights. Was that Josh? Usually Josh has a message with it. So I don't know if it was him or not. And look at this. On top of his big payment there, Praetorian says, can't forget FatZap Friday, kind regards, Praetorian. And he sent not just a single shot today, but a double. A double. Thank you, Praetorian. Appreciate that, brother. So I got to figure out what to do with that payment that you sent me. I know what it is, but I don't know if I got to check on the membership there. And Scotty Boy with a fat Scotty zap today. He said 1 year zapping. Who'd have thunk it, eh? Wow, you sound like a Canadian, Scotty. 1 year zapping. Who'd have thunk it, eh? Cheers, Scotty. It's been a ride, man. It's been a ride. And, I kind of mentioned like the big five there, I guess you'd say. Jenny, Sats and Sunsets, Joshua, Praetorian, and Letha the Icon. The five with nicknames there. The Smith, the Guardian, the King, the Icon, the Legend. But, man, we got people here. People like Scotty, people like Mark, Tons of people here. Duncan's here almost every freaking day. I hate mentioning names here because I always leave people out. Maria's here almost every day. Chuck, everybody. It's incredible. And it would not be possible. I don't know. I actually don't know what I'd be doing without those people. I don't know where I'd be. Kind of weird to think about, but I don't know where I'd be. I wouldn't be sitting here. I know that for a fact. Wouldn't be possible. I mean, or I would have to submit to the usual flow, the sponsors. We'd have sponsors on here. We'd have Ledger, we'd have Ledden, we'd have Bitcoin Way, we'd have Mara, we'd have Uphold, but we don't. So anyways, let's keep going here. Let's keep her going here. Paradigm says, I like this guy. Maybe that's why I've been watching it since last year. Cheers, man. Or woman. But that's it. Okay, look at this. We got something else happened here. Jenny did something. Hodl to zero. What are your thoughts? Global liquidity cycle might be a factor related to the 4-year cycle. Yeah. I mean, I kind of think beyond 4 years in cycles myself. I'm just trying to be directionally correct. I'm not somebody who's going to sit here and look at charts and sell my Bitcoin for fiat so I can hopefully get more Bitcoin in the future. I'd rather spend that time actually creating things. And hopefully my creations or the value that I provide returns me sats that I, because that's the thing for me. There's been so many careers made of just from stealing from people. Like what is Wall Street? What do traders do? They don't add any sort of value to the world. They don't add any sort of value to the world. Like think about that. Think about how big that industry is of like trading and financial markets, and it doesn't add anything to the world. Nothing. So my approach is a little bit different. I don't try to time things. I don't try to trade anything. I just focus on creating things. And eventually you create good things and you get value in return and you can put that into Bitcoin. And you don't have to waste your time, right? Like I feel like traders and people looking at charts, they don't really value their own time because there's no value in that. There's no value in that. There's no shortcuts in Bitcoin. Some people have won, most people have lost, but I don't play around with that stuff. I've tried. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not like a perfect person up here who's telling you what to do and not to do. Like I've been through it, and I lost every time because you don't understand who you're betting against. You're betting against people who have inside information on you, inside information and quicker information than you. Do you know how much money is made every day by entities like what are they called? Jane Street. So Jane Street gets information. They can see people trading before it's public. Like it shouldn't even be legal. I have no idea how it is legal. Hopefully once this whole thing kind of collapses, it's not legal anymore. But they literally have information. They can see your trade in real time and then trade against that or trade with it. It doesn't make any sort of sense that that's legal. So that's who you're going against. It's nonsense. Everybody who tries that loses. So that's why I just I don't talk about it. I don't try to do it. I just buy Bitcoin and put it into self-custody as quick as I can. And the more you do that, the less manipulation they can actually do. Praetorian said, Jor, ever considered making the digital homestead a book or book series? Great title, by the way. Yeah. Yep. I probably will. I kind of want to do one course every year for the next couple of years. It's kind of like cohorts, maybe half year. So 2 per year. So the first one here really that people are going through at the bottom here, the school.com/88 sats. That's how you get access to that course. But the people who are going through right now, you're the first ones. So that's why it's cheapest for you. That's why it's very, very cheap right now, because it's the first one through. But you also get like 7 months instead of the future ones will probably be like 3 or 4 months, I'd say. So the people going through it now, and the cool thing is, like, if you're a member, you're going to get to see cohort 2, cohort 3. You don't have to buy like course by course. You sign up to be part of the community. But every X amount of members who join the community, I'm going to keep raising the price of it, because it just makes sense. More people, more value, more content, more value. The dollar losing value every day. It's just logic. But yeah, a book would be cool. A book would be cool. Paulo said, George sent you a Fridays app on Rizful. All right, where is this, Paulo? That was a couple minutes ago here. Buck 52 said, I'm a farmer and want more land. Amen. We got a couple farmers in here. Buck 52 said, I need the price to moon. I need a new tractor. Philly says, that's my dream, Buck, and I'm getting there. Good for you, man. Good for you. It is nice. I don't farm crops. I don't have any animals here other than Arnie and Lucky, but I just like being out in the silence. You trust me. I grew up in a really small town. Like, the town that I grew up in was probably 200 people. 200 people. And then we moved to a slightly bigger town, and then I moved to the city. I was in the city for about 11 years, I'd say. And you cannot put a price on, man, this is like, we're 28 minutes into this. This might never come. You truly cannot put a price on the peacefulness out here, the peacefulness. You can't. And once you experience it, there's actually a song that came out last week. It was by one of my new favorite artists. What's his name? But it basically said, like, spend one night in the country and you want to spend the rest. Because that's how it is. You get out of the city for a while and you actually live outside the city for a while. You're gonna have a hard time going back to that. Just so much noise, so many dipshits walking around. I don't want to call them NPCs. I think I think NPC is actually a worse thing to say than dipshit. It has trade-offs, right? Like, there's no DoorDash. If I want food, I got to actually make it. If I want to go out for a couple beer with buddies, I got to travel. If I want to go for a night out, you got to travel. But man, the downside to it is way less than the upside to it, in my mind, anyways. Paulie said, Paulo, I didn't see your zap here. I don't know if I just missed it. Look at this. We got one from Paradigm. Paradigm said 88 sats. He said Team Bitcoin, Paradigm Miner, 88 sats. Thank you, Paradigm. Paulo, where's your zap here, man? What was the number? I don't see it here. Oh, maybe that was your 8,000 one. I thought that was Josh, but that was probably Paulo. That was probably Paulo, because I haven't seen Joshua here today. So if that was, I guess I should scroll down a little bit here. Paulo. Yes. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, the note didn't go through. It didn't. So he said, from Paulo, my birthday is 11/8. 11 times 8 equals 88. TGIF. Love that. Did you know that here's an interesting one. Did you know that 888 times 2, so 888 plus 888 equals what? Who can do the math quickest in their head? 888 plus 888. That's what it is, Sats and Sons. That's the gambler's fallacy. That's exactly what it is. That's what we were talking about with the see? This hasn't changed. That's the gambler's fallacy right there at work. This last block was 31 minutes ago, and this still says in about 9 minutes, which is probably based on this. if we were behind, like we were last difficulty adjustment, this would probably say in approximately 10 minutes or maybe even 11 minutes. But because we're ahead right now, I'm guessing that's why it says 9 minutes. I would have to check on that though. I don't know for sure on that. But look at the network, man. We got some action here. We got 4,300 transactions in this block right now. The next block to be mined. Trees and wildlife. Yeah, you can't beat it. Sorry, Polly. I used to be with it. Then they changed what it was. Now I'm with isn't it. And what's it is weird and scary to me now. I agree. And I don't know if that's our age, Polly. I know you're a couple years older than me, but or if that's just the times and our escape from the fiat system. Okay, look at this. Moro said, just submitted a transaction to be included to the difficulty adjustment block live on the show. Timestamp this forever. What's the transaction ID on that, Moro? What's the transaction ID? You could, I don't think you'll be able to share it in YouTube, but if you put it in Rumble, I can copy and paste it and we can look it up. I should have done that. That's a good call. Except you got to pay. Hopefully you had your RBF on. Maybe this is going to turn into like I got to go right away. But yeah, the cool thing about Bitcoin, I know there's probably a lot of people watching this right now who know this, but just in case there's some that aren't. And that's kind of really what my next iteration is going to be, I think. Like I've been talking about focusing on the school community, and I'm going to. The course, the school, really building that out, because I think that it's a very powerful thing that we got going there. And even I underestimate that a lot of days, but we got something really special there. So I'm going to be focusing a lot on the school community. Eventually, we'll probably shift everything into there at some point. I don't know when that is. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of split off the channels here, where I'm going to have this live stream every day. And this live stream is going to be more catered towards the people who are here right now. Like the Moros, the Matt FRLs, the Jennies, the Scotties, the Sats and Sunsets, the Praetorians, the Paulos, the Buck 52s, the Pollies. I'm gonna have a channel and a stream specific, like we've been doing, right? It's gonna be the exact same show. Because if somebody hopped into my stream most days, they'd be like, "What the hell is this guy talking about?" Because I've been there before, but I also don't want to just like stay back and hold people back. So my live streams are going to be mostly focused on experienced Bitcoiners, people who have been around for a couple of years. Maybe they've been through a cycle or two. They have a lot invested into Bitcoin, and they want to go a little bit deeper into things, the technical side of things, the philosophy side of things. And then I'm going to start making some specific videos for like people who are somewhat newer to Bitcoin, kind of like the fundamentals, obviously the technical side, the philosophy approach to it, some other things, not necessarily how-to videos, but just like how to think about Bitcoin. So it'll be a little bit different. I'm going to have to cut down the length of the streams, and maybe that's why I'm pushing these longer than normal, because I know that in a little while they're going to be shorter. But it's tough because there's always people new coming into Bitcoin that need to be, helped. But there's also a lot of people who have been here for a long time now that I don't want to just, be stuck. I want to evolve the show. I want to evolve what we're talking about. And it's really the people who are here that are the most important to me. And so that's kind of my plan going forward. It really doesn't make sense for me. And I think it's actually holding back my channel significantly, because it's hard to talk to somebody who's been in Bitcoin for 5 years while also talking to somebody who's been in Bitcoin for 5 weeks. It's very difficult because they're light years apart. So that's something that's on my mind right now. That's kind of what I got going on. Matt is here. Matt says, "Good morning, team." Says, "I know an author. Great author." I can't believe. Oh, did we miss that? No. See, this difficulty adjustment, when we started looking at it, was 3.21%. And because of this last block has taken so long, it's so the miners are probably happy about this. The miners are saying, take as long as you want here. Let that keep going down. Because when this percentage goes up, that means it's more difficult based on your current hash rate. The likelihood of you hitting a block is lower because it's harder to find a block. So if you have a certain amount of hash rate, if you're mining at home and they crank up the difficulty adjustment by 3%, that means that it's more difficult for you to find a block, or you're going to get less rewards if you're part of a pool miner. So miners are really happy. I'm thinking that this last block here is taking a while. We definitely can't stop the show until this happens. We definitely can't stop the show until this happens. So this might even carry into the Maple show today. Look at this. Look at this. Ghost says, just got here. Knew the community, convinced me Bitcoin won't hit 124 again. You're looking at me to convince you that? I think today Bitcoin is worth much closer to 12.4 million than it is 124,000. So I'm not going to be the guy who does that for you. I'm thinking you mean because of the title today, which we haven't even touched on. But the reason why I titled that, maybe just kind of as we wait here for, but anyways, Ghost Casper, nice to have you here, man. Even on Rumble, look at that. What a beauty. On Rumble. Did you subscribe to the channel? Yes, you did. 1 minute ago. 1 minute ago. We also had DBAT subscribe to the Rumble channel, and also MFTAB yesterday. So shout out to our new rednecks. Well, not quite rednecks yet, but one day. But kind of my idea with the bearish case for Bitcoin, and maybe I'll talk about this with Forrest today. Maybe I'll text Forrest after this stream today and tell him that that's what I want to talk about during the Maple stream today. But the bearish case for Bitcoin is I'll give you a real quick 5 minutes spiel on it as we wait for this difficulty adjustment to happen. Oh, what happened? So do we have to wait another 60 blocks for it to reset? That would actually make sense. Or did it happen and it just doesn't do live? I mean, this is a perfect example of, like, I think we've talked about this before on the show, but it was like 6 months ago. But this is a perfect example of somebody who spends literally every waking moment of their life in Bitcoin, does a show every day on Bitcoin, and still doesn't know anywhere close to everything about Bitcoin. So we're 60 blocks ahead. So it should have happened, though. In my mind, this should have happened right now. This should have reset. Because if we were 60 blocks ahead, we would still get to that, because it's every certain amount of blocks, which we hit. We hit the full amount here. This is the full amount of blocks. So 1955 was expected, but the actual would have been 2048. What is it? 2048 or 2016? I always get those mixed up. 2016 blocks. I think it's 2016 blocks. I think the 2048 is the total amount of words in the BIP39 word list. How many blocks between difficulty adjustment? I think it's 2016. Yeah, 2016. So when we look at that, that's what this is saying basically here, that at this point, since the last difficulty adjustment, we would have expected it. The math still doesn't make sense, though, to me. 1955 blocks expected based on where we are right now, but we've had this, to me, should be 2016 blocks. So let's maybe go look at the the time chain and see what that says. Somebody in the chat know? Time chain now says 1 block left. Oh yeah, we're in the red zone here. Look at this. Well, also never seen this before. Look at that, 1. We're flashing. We're in the red zone here. We're in the red zone. Okay, so let's see what happens here. What should we wash it on? The difficulty adjustment or the mempool? The time chain seems way more exciting. Oh, so maybe okay. So hey, Moro, did your transaction go through? Because hopefully not. That would have been in the block right before it. But if we go back to this one, oh man, this is a good freaking song. This is an oldie. Edwin McCain. I'll be damned. That's what my grandpa used to say. I'll be damned. This is a good song. This is a classic. We belong together. Good tune. Good freaking tune. Okay, well, let's see. I don't know if we can wait for another one. That last block took 40 minutes. But we are on the Epoch of V, I guess, while we're here. We're in Epoch V. The subsidy in Epoch V. V, of course, stands for vendetta. V stands for victory. V stands for the visionaries. V stands for vagina. Violin as well. I mean, if we're just saying words here randomly, it stands for, it's the formation too, the ducks flying. Ducks fly together in a V formation. And it also stands for the epoch number 5. Epoch number 5, which is the block subsidy of 3.125, which is the Bitcoin that gets paid to the miners every block. And so currently that is 3.125. When we reach epoch number 6, which happens in 100,000 blocks, then this subsidy will get cut down to 1.56 per block. Total supply in Bitcoin is 20.02 million, which means there's only 0.98 million Bitcoin left to be mined in history. Once it's done, it's done. And it's pretty much all going to be gone by 2036, I think. There we go. Who got it? Unknown. Wow. Unknown miner. Is that, wow. Is that something or what? Unknown miner. There we go. I guess it resets after the first. Okay. Okay. So I don't know if these two are off, but that would have been the last block here. So this is the next block here. This one would have been the first block in the new adjustment. It's still a little bit off. They seem like they're one block off between the mempool and the time chain, doesn't it? Or am I thinking about this wrong? I don't know, but the official difficulty adjustment we can now report was 3.12% upwards to an unknown miner. Man, I love that. How good is that? Moro, did your transaction get put in there? Where's Moro? I don't know. Moro's gone. Moro hit the road. So there we go. So now we got exactly 2016 blocks till the next difficulty adjustment. That was the first time in 525 streams that we watched a difficulty adjustment. Historic show. Historic show. The exchange rate today, if you got $1, I mean, we're usually doing this about an hour ago, but it's Friday. It's Friday. And we like having fun on Fridays, right? I think I do. And so you can trade 1 unit of illusion, 1 unit of trash, 1 unit of the worst money in human history. You can trade one of those units for 1,263 of the best, the scarcest, energy backed, energy created. The only way you can get Bitcoin is if you take real energy and put it into the network. It's the only way to get it. Or exert some of your own energy and work for it. But you can't cheat Bitcoin. You can't create Bitcoin out of thin air or Satoshis out of thin air. So you trade one of those units of nothing, of the worst money in human history, and you can get yourself 1,263 units of the best money in human history. That's a pretty good trade. It's a pretty good trade. We call that one the deal of a lifetime around here. Morrow said, yes, actually, I got kicked to the difficulty adjustment block since the longer block kicked me to the next. Actually, I got kicked to the difficulty adjustment block since the longer block kicked me to the next. Oh, wow. Okay, so it worked out for you then. I was going to say, hopefully you had your RBF on because the numbers kept going up there. Awesome. Difficulty needs to be satisfied. To solve a block, you need 135 trillion T or more. You can have 500 T and then solve, but I don't know what the hell this means. But 134 T can't, so there is only satisfaction to the difficulty, not an exact number to get. The difficulty needs to be satisfied. To solve a block, you need 135 T or more. What's T? What's T? 135 T or more, you can have 500 T and then solve, but 134 T can't. So there's only satisfaction difficulty, not an exact number to get. Might need to, I know it's hard to freaking leave a comment that's like actually has some substance in it in a YouTube comment on the live stream. So I get it. I just don't really know what you're saying. I don't know what the T stands for. Vinyl says that's the target. You can visually see the time between blocks in the ring under the adjustment ring. Right here. So I'm guessing that was the last difficulty adjustment through. You can visually see the time gap between blocks in the ring under the adjustment ring. It has to be. This would have had to been from the last difficulty adjustment, the last 2016 blocks. Look at that time between blocks. 2 a.m. till 1:30 Thursday. Why is it? So this must be estimated then based on the last. I'm guessing. I actually don't know. V is for peace, man. We got a lot of we're jumping everywhere right now. We're everywhere. Fortunately, it's a consolidation. I'd like to retain. Oh yeah, okay. No, that's definitely not going to make you do it. But yeah, I didn't think of that. Good call, Morrow. Good call. 2016 blocks was exactly 10 minutes, but since we ahead is faster. Sincere is here. Hey, Sin. Good morning, buddy. Good to see you, man. T is trillion. It's the difficulty. It started at when one Satoshi mined the first block. Sorry, it's hard to it's pretty hard for me right now. This is probably a nightmare for people to watch. But that's okay. It's Friday. And you know, if you don't like it, you can find something else to watch. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of the internet. What is going on here? Sats and sunsets. Oh my God. Oh, wow. Sats and sunsets. Good God, man. Jenny, I feel like an actual streamer today. You know, those streamers, it's like, you know, they can't even get through the comment section because there's so many. And they're just like people sending the money and they're just like, oh, thank you. That's how I feel today. I feel like a legitimate streamer today. And if you guys know me, you know that's not me at all. But I want to say quickly here to Jenny. Jenny got a membership, and who got it? Who received that membership, Jenny? Has anybody received it yet? Oh, Ghost. Ghost got it. So Jenny sent a memby, and Ghost was the recipient of it. So he is officially a redneck over on Rumble. Brand new subscriber, and he also has become a redneck in the same day. That's not many people get that. New subscriber on Rumble, and also gets a membership from Jenny. But we got to show this for the historic show today. Hold on. Check this one out. This is the biggest. I think this is actually double. This is double the biggest donation we've ever received on Rumble before. Double. Check this one. What? Red. I think Josh sent one. I think Sats and Sunsets might have sent one too before, but it was also red. So red must be the max here. But historic zap for a historic show. It definitely is a historic zap. That's actually double the historic zap, and red as well. So the Smith, Sats and Sunsets. I think we know who's going to be the MOB of today. I think that'd be an undisputed one. But wow, Sats and Sunsets. So I'm gonna have to do some I might have to spend the whole night tonight doing the math on where things shake out after today. Wow, man, that's something. That is something right there. Yeah, feel you, Praetorian. Wow, we got wows coming in everywhere there. Wow, whoa. Ginger says, "Holy shit." Mark says, "Wow." Yeah, well, I'll let these folks speak for me here, because this is yeah, that's a redneck. That's the castle maker himself right there at work. That's something. Okay, well, it's 11:11 here. Well, it's 11:11 for me. I got to eat some food. I was going to do a workout. I don't know if I'm going to have time now today, but and then we got to do the maple stream. So what I'm going to encourage everybody to do here is show up for the maple stream today. I know you're probably tired of listening to me, but the good news is you'll get some of Forrest as well. It won't just be me. But we'll talk about this. We'll talk about what I was going to talk about today. It's funny because I even started talking. I'm like, I'll just give you a quick 5-minute summary of what I was going to talk about today. 2 hours into it, and I never even got that in. So, some parts of me here, certain parts of me are like, Jor, we got to, we shouldn't dick around so much. We should get to the point. We should cut the show off, give people the value that they want, to let them go. But I'm really just starting to believe that, and that's why I really like this idea of like a new separate channel just to do the stream on YouTube. Obviously, Rumble's still going to be here. I'm not going to make a new Rumble, but for the people just want a place to hang out, and I know that because that's what I do every night with Jerry's channel. People just want a place to hang out with other people who think like them, who talk like them, who have their same ideals, and just to kind of, separate even further from the insane clown world that that most people kind of get sucked into. So, days like this, we didn't really cover anything. We just kind of talked. And the more I think about it, it's like, who cares? We had a record amount of people in Rumble today. We had a good turnout in YouTube. We had probably the most support here we've ever had. And obviously I want to have good topics to talk about, and like the presentation we did yesterday. But the reality is I'm just not going to be able to do that every day. It's not feasible. So, that's kind of where my mind goes, is like, we just got to show up. We just got to show up. And when there's people here, there's always going to be things to talk about in Bitcoin. It's the most exciting thing, the most exciting topic on the planet right now, even more than AI. Like, AI is cool, but like, it's nothing compared to Bitcoin. It's really not. It's nothing compared to Bitcoin. If you want to secure a stake in the future economy that we're clearly moving into here, You just need Bitcoin. Like that's it. And my whole purpose here is to help people, anybody who's willing to listen, how to make sure that whatever sats that we have today, we're going to keep building that balance up, balance go up, and protect those sats. And if we can do that, if we can somehow manage to do that over these next 10 years, you know, I can't even imagine what our lives are going to look like. The funny thing too is like financially, even if we're 100, 200x better than we are today, which we probably will be, we're still going to think back on these days. We're still going to think back on these days when we were trying to convince everybody that Bitcoin was going to be a thing, when we were the outcasts, we were the outsiders, and we were the ones on a random Friday morning just talking about nothing, but everything at the same time. So what I'm trying to say is like, what's rolling out here, even my bearish case for Bitcoin, actually, the more I thought about it, was actually bullish. Bitcoin's going to win. Bitcoin already has won. What it looks like in 10 or 15 years, I think we still have to fight for. There's a lot of things that could go either way in terms of like the privacy implications, the KYC stuff, the capital gains, the exit taxes, all this stuff. That's still yet to be determined. But Bitcoin is not going to zero anymore. And so when you understand the implications of that, you understand that Bitcoin is not going to zero anymore, then that means it's going to infinity. Again, what that looks like, what the implications on us are as like everyday people and people who are yet to come, that's going to change. That kind of depends on what we do. That depends on our actions. We believe it or not, we have the ability to change that, to change the path. And we're still kind of on the right road, I think. But you know, there's definitely a lot of distractions, lots of distractions everywhere. And kind of one of the distractions that really inspired the show today that I was going to talk about was SATA, like the other version of strategy, STRC, I should say. And you know, my thoughts on that is that it is a distraction, but it's necessary. It's a necessary part of the road here, a necessary part of the path. Do I wish that every single person out there could understand Bitcoin the way that we do and would take their capital out of the financial system and put it into Bitcoin and take self-custody of that Bitcoin? Of course. That's literally why I show up here every day. But am I naive to think that that's going to be the case for everybody? Yes. And so it's going to look a little bit different than I think that myself and other people think it's going to look like. But that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. And that was really what I was going to talk about today. And again, maybe I'll do it on Monday. Maybe I'll do a video tomorrow for the channel. I don't know. I really want to get this off my chest. But either way, we're going to be very, 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 very wealthy in the future if we can protect what we have and keep going up. You don't have to have a substantial amount. You don't have to double or triple or quadruple your stack. You just need to keep what you have protected and just make sure that that number goes up. And I really love thinking about it this way, because here's the thing is that in life, your whole kind of perception of the world and the way that people perceive you is all based on your confidence, your self-image. And I would implore you, anybody out there who's kind of interested in this kind of stuff and like becoming more valuable, increasing your skills, growing your network, you know, just being more in demand, I guess. Being more in demand. I would challenge you to look into the self-image thing, because you literally have the ability every single day to rewire your brain. It doesn't happen by accident. It's not a real easy route to do, but it's possible. And so when you think about self-image, that's like how you see yourself. When you look in the mirror, how you see yourself. And you can kind of rewire that, but it's not just like, you know, saying things over and over again. It's doing things. It's showing up. It's doing something even though you don't want to do it. And finding the best qualities about yourself and really spending a lot of time focusing on those. Like, you're never going to change your self-image by, you know, repeating something every day, something that you saw online, repeating that or writing it on your mirror. You really have to believe that. And the only way that you can believe that is by action, by actually doing something and reminding yourself of those positive things. And so self-image to me, when I think about that, imagine this. Imagine you had a bank account. Everybody here, I'm sure, uses online banking. You log into your account, you see your balance there. For most people, especially Bitcoiners, it's pretty depressing when you do that. Or otherwise, you're short Bitcoin. You turn that on. You put your bank account up, and you see this number, and it kind of fluctuates, right? Like for the last 15 years of my life, as long as I've been like a working adult, that number just kind of like goes like this. You get paid, it goes up. Then all your expenses come and it goes down. And it just kind of flatlines, especially ever since finding Bitcoin, because any excess that I have now goes into Bitcoin. So my bank account, which is how most people measure themselves, and their self-image is based on that, it doesn't really change, right? It goes up when they get paid. It goes down when they have to pay for something. So it just kind of fluctuates around the same thing, whether that's like $5,000, $1,000, $100. It's just kind of there, especially if you're a Bitcoiner. But imagine this. Imagine this. If you understood what's happening here, if you understood how valuable these units are that we call Satoshis, imagine you looked at your bank account every day and that balance just went up and up and up and up and up, and it never came down. And even if it did, within the next week, it was back up to where it was. And the trend was just kind of going like this over time. And I guarantee that if you looked at your Bitcoin wallets through that lens, that's exactly what it would be. It would be up. And that's the whole point here. That's what we want to do. We want to make sure that that balance only goes up over the long term, the trend. Like day to day, it might go up and down a little bit. But for the most part, most Bitcoiners, they send Bitcoin to their cold storage and they don't even think about it again. It's there. But they have this completely different way of thinking about that compared to how they see their bank account. They put way too much emphasis on their bank account and hardly any real thought to their Bitcoin balance, their cold storage, which is really the best thing that you could have. And so you have this thing over here, your cold storage Bitcoin, and that balance is just going up. But yet it's not really reflective in us because the fiat world still tells us that it's only worth this much. We look at the fiat price of Bitcoin and it only says it's worth this much. But if you only knew how valuable those Satoshis were going to be or really are right now, your confidence, your self-image would be through the roof. It's just that the whole world that we see through our eyes every day, it doesn't tell us that. It tells us that Bitcoin's only worth $80,000. But you can't measure it in that system because they're two completely different things. The fiat equivalent, the fiat part of this measurement here, unlimited supply, zero cost to new supply, zero energy required to create new supply. We have no idea how many units exist. That's one system. That's what we're comparing these things to. That's one system. The other system is absolute scarcity. It's math. It's code that cannot change. If it's going to be changed, it's very, very difficult to change. So there's a perfectly scarce amount of those. We haven't really felt the scarce part of Bitcoin yet, but we're going to at some point in the future. I think sooner than later. You have energy. If you want to create more of those units in that system, you have to take physical energy through solar, through wind, through nuclear, through hydro, through natural gas, through whatever it takes. But you have to take actual physical energy to create those units. And so they're not the same. They're not the same. So don't let the world tell you that your Bitcoin's only worth this much. Because what it's really worth is probably 100, 200, 1,000 times more than what you see in front of you. And imagine if you had your real measurement, your Bitcoin, your cold storage, and that balance was only going to go up. Imagine how you'd feel about yourself. You wouldn't give a shit what the price of gas was. You wouldn't give a shit about the expenses coming up. You got to replace your tires or your whatever. It doesn't matter. What you're holding right now is 1,000 times more than most people will ever have. But again, we keep being sucked back into this fiat illusion of this. It's only worth this much. It's bullshit. So take a look at your Bitcoin balance. Understand that that's the only thing that really matters. Understand that that's the real power that we talked about earlier in the show. And give yourself like, understand that, because you, again, self-image is based on your beliefs. You really have to understand what I'm saying here for that to translate into your self-image and into your confidence, which is going to trickle into every aspect of your life, your career, your relationships, your friendships, your family, all that stuff. It's all impacted by your self-image of how you see yourself, because that's the energy that you give off. And again, people are really held back, especially Bitcoiners. And that's why it bothers me so much, is because Bitcoiners are actually the ones holding the cards, and they're the ones who really feel the worst about like their financial position. And it's because of the fiat world and the illusion that people have that it's only worth this much. So if you can get past that and you start looking at your Bitcoin's cold storage, your Sparrow wallet or your Aqua wallet or whatever it is, I guess Aqua's not cold storage, but you know what I mean. You start looking at that, and that's your new bank account. That's how you measure yourself. That's how you value yourself financially. And that balance is only going up. You're going to feel pretty damn good about yourself. If you can mesh those two and understand what I'm saying here, you're going to feel pretty good about yourself. And that is going to radiate into every part of your life. And so that's why, even though I'm half an hour over time here, I think it's very important to understand that. So that's that's the bearish case for Bitcoin. That's not what I was going to talk about today, but that's how I feel we should end today, because it is Friday. It is Friday. What's this? Oh, I just got this email. I got this email from a guy named Rick, and it said, "So your seed phrase is still on paper? Come on, man." But it was actually from Crypto Cloaks. So they're selling the Seedor safe kits, the stamps, which are useful, but you still don't want to put your 12 words on steel. Because if somebody finds that steel, your Bitcoin's gone. So one of the things we're going to do very early on in the digital homestead course is I'm going to give you kind of like a starter kit. So we're eventually going to evolve into a multi-sig, but I'm going to give you like a very basic blueprint that you can implement almost instantly into your setup, probably within a week. It's probably going to take you a week, depending on what your Bitcoin is right now. But I'm going to give you a little template or a protocol that you can implement immediately to make sure that if something happens to your house, or somebody breaks in, or somebody finds your 12 words, your Bitcoin's not going to be gone. So that's going to be probably within the first couple of weeks of this course, because I want to do that right off the hop. I don't want to spend like 3 months talking about Bitcoin while people's Bitcoin is still at risk. So steel's good, I guess. I just kind of saw this email here and it reminded me of that. But yeah, Crypto Cloaks. That's right. That's who it is. Talking about steel. And you should still stamp some things onto steel, but it should never be your 12 words. So I fear that there's going to be a lot of Bitcoiners here, some maybe even in the chat, who spend 10 years watching the price, watching their wealth go up. And then one day they just wake up and it's gone because they didn't understand what they were doing. They didn't understand the importance of not only writing down your private key, but dispersing it so you remove your single point of failure. So that's why we're here. That's why we're doing the course. And that's my main mission, is to make sure that everybody going through that course within that community, they have their Bitcoin in 10 years. And that's really what inspired. I got to shut up here because I'm way over time. But that was really the conversation I wanted to have today. And maybe this will just kind of get you thinking. If you're going to watch the Maple stream later with Forrest and I, Rajat's not here today, unfortunately, but I want you to think about this. Everybody wants this utopia of like Bitcoin only. So you just have Bitcoin at home. You have Bitcoin on your phone. Everywhere you want to pay, They just take Bitcoin. There's no other institutions. There's no bloodsuckers out there. There's no leeches that are taking fees off you. It's what everybody wants. But think about it. Could that actually work? Because when I think about it myself, I think I want to have the majority of my Bitcoin. I do have the majority of my Bitcoin multi-sig, geographically dispersed, encrypted, secure. And if I wanted to spend some of it, I would have to go somewhere else. I would have to go through this whole process. Otherwise, the alternative there is you're going to have a lot of value, a lot of wealth, a lot of Bitcoin at your house, on you, somewhere in your house. That could vary from 5% of your stack, 10% of your stack, 20% of your stack. You're gonna be a big target. Think about the AI, the technology we have, the traceability now, the hacks, the leaks. You're gonna be a big target. And even more so, you're walking around on the streets, driving somewhere. And really what made me think about this was the movie In Time. Everybody, oh, I shouldn't say everybody, but hopefully here most people have seen the movie In Time, which is basically like they have a little wristband. Actually, it's not, it's built into their wrist, but it shows them how much time they have left. And it's kind of all based on money. Like the idea there is that the more money you have, the more time you have. Of course, you could die of unnatural causes, but you still have the time. Because the idea there is that the more money you have, the more things you can do, and the more free time you have, the less you have to work, less stress you have, the more healthy you are, all this stuff. So your clock says what time it is or how much time you have left. And so the poor people, they all have like their day to day. They got 1 day left, 1 day left, 1 day left. But the thing about that, which I never really thought about before until recently, is that how do people steal? How do people steal from you? They just walk right up to you and they put their wrist against yours. And if they hold it there long enough, they can take all your time. And so if you think about that in the same way as like Bitcoin, right? Because where's your Bitcoin stored? A lot of people keep some of their Bitcoin on their phone. And we already have the ability to basically extract by being around somebody. You know, you're hearing this more and more of like somebody just getting their bank account rugged because somebody walked by them, bumped into them, and tapped their phone. Like the NFC stuff. So imagine if Bitcoin was the only thing that we had. How could that be possible? There would be such a high incentive of violence. Because all you need to do is like kill somebody and take their phone or take their Bitcoin, and you have all their wealth. So you have to consider those two things, right? You want your Bitcoin to be locked up somewhere, but you also want the ability to spend it. Are you really going to go through the trouble of like going back and forth? And like, we might, but the average person definitely is not going to do that. And so what's the alternative there? What's the solution? Well, it's some sort of units that can be created, and it's some sort of units that can be insured, right? Like, so you'd pay some sort of fee if you wanted to, so you don't have to keep the majority of your Bitcoin at your house or around your house, but you use some of that Bitcoin, you take a loan against it, and kind of like a line of credit. So then your Bitcoin's still separated. You're not walking around with it. It's not in your house, but you can still go day to day. You can pay for what you need to. And so again, Bitcoiners, I don't really understand. I don't think that a lot of Bitcoiners, including myself, really understand the implications of like an asset-backed payment everywhere, right? Like everybody pays with credit card or a debit card, where it's like, what's credit? So even if somebody steals it, you can get it back through like insurance or a chargeback or whatever. But if we just have Bitcoin only, that's really going to raise the incentive of violence, because it's all going to be asset backed. There's going to be no credit, no insurance, nothing else. So the more I think through this, the more I actually do believe that we need something other than Bitcoin. So that was kind of like the bearish case for Bitcoin 2 hours into it. Was like, I don't think that we're ever going to live in a world where it's only Bitcoin. It just doesn't really make sense. It doesn't make sense in my head. But again, that doesn't change the value of Bitcoin, because you're basically going to treat your Bitcoin like a farmer treats his farmland. where, farmland's very difficult to steal, almost impossible. But imagine if you were carrying around your farmland in your phone, or you had to keep your farmland inside your house. Same kind of thing. So you're still going to get the benefit of all the things that come with an energy-backed, absolute scarcity asset. There's just going to be, I think, the idea of Bitcoin being like a peer-to-peer. But having said that, I do still think that there's going to be like peer-to-peer. I still think that Bitcoin's going to serve as like the way we use cash right now. You know what I mean? Like, you don't carry around $20,000 worth of cash in your wallet. You might keep a couple $100. So you could go to the coffee store, the coffee shop. You could go to the record shop, we'll say, ice cream store. I'm thinking about old things. I don't really go to too many stores anymore. But you could use your Bitcoin there because you're not keeping a lot of Bitcoin on your phone, even if somebody did hack you. What I'm trying to say is, like, if you're carrying around assets like Bitcoin on your phone, you become a target. It raises the incentive of violence. If everybody's walking around with their assets on their phone, it raises the cost, or it raises the likelihood of violence because you can just take it. And if somebody takes your Bitcoin, there's nobody you can call and say, hey, this guy stole my Bitcoin. You're just screwed. So what does that look like? It looks like just a bunch of people running around stealing each other's Bitcoin. Doesn't make any sense. So you want some sort of layer on there that you can still back with your Bitcoin, that you can use as collateral, your Bitcoin as collateral, but you still have like the protection of like consumer protection. So you would still use Bitcoin as like the way we use cash, or we did use cash before. I could still go to my favorite coffee shop and pay them peer-to-peer in Bitcoin, but maybe I only have $30 worth of Bitcoin on my phone. Like, it's going to be a real problem. And I'm surprised it's not a bigger problem right now, is like how much crypto and Bitcoin that people are actually keeping on their phone right now. This is going to be a huge problem. And just play that out into like the mainstream where everybody's walking around with their phone that has all their assets on it. It's going to be a nightmare. And so that, I just wanted to get you thinking about that, because maybe that's what Forrest and I will talk about on the show today. But I've just been kind of changing my mind on it. The bearish case is that it might not be Bitcoin only. And I never really subscribed to the idea that it would be. It seemed too, we've never had that in history before. And I understand that we've never had something like Bitcoin before in history either. But there is some significant risk to having like a network that's fully asset backed, which would be Bitcoin. That'd be a Bitcoin world. It's all assets. There's no liability. There's no insurance. There's no consumer protection. There's no anything like that. So I kind of foresee, in my ideal world, you kind of have a mixture of both, where you still have the ability to use Bitcoin privately. Like if I wanted to go to my favorite coffee shop and I didn't want anybody to know that I was buying a coffee or whatever, or if I wanted to buy a dirt bike and I didn't want anybody to know that I was buying that dirt bike, I could still use Bitcoin. I could still use the Lightning Network. But if I wanted something bigger, or I didn't want to have to keep all my liquid cash on my phone, then you could use something like another unit, whether it's like a stable coin or a whatever. And so I just think that too many Bitcoiners, they get turned off with this idea of like a stable coin. But it almost seems necessary to me. And I think that, something like a CBDC where the central banks have the ability to print more, that's different than like a stable coin where there's actually asset-backed stable coins where they don't have the ability to just print to infinity. And it's also on kind of like an open network where you can see how many stable coins are issued, how many are circulating. And then countries will be kind of competing to back their stable coin with something to reduce the supply of it. So people use that. And I just kind of foresee a world where if I'm a business owner, because I think that everybody's going to be kind of their own business in the future. But if I'm a business owner, I could say, hey, I just want Bitcoin, or I want Dogecoin, or I want USD stablecoin. But I get to decide that. And then we'll have the ability to kind of like swap between. Like that's the economy that they're talking about, like the tokenized economy, where you could swap between your strategy share to Dogecoin just within a second. And if the vendor that you're paying wants Dogecoin, you could pay him. So there's a lot to think through. And you know, actually the reason I was late for the show this morning is because I was having a very in-depth conversation with AI about it. And it was interesting. So I'll maybe do a video on it. Maybe I'll talk about it on Monday. Maybe I'll talk about it with Forrest this afternoon and see what he thinks on it. But lots to think about there. Bitcoin Nerd says people just don't understand the difference between a small hot wall for daily purchases versus their long-term cold storage. We will be using a digital stablecoin in between, I believe. That's what I mean. Like that makes the most sense to me. It really does. Even as a Bitcoin, the furthest you'd have in the Bitcoin maxi scale. Because it doesn't really make sense to be walking around or have all your assets at your house. Just imagine that. Imagine how much of a headache that would be. If you were keeping like $1,000, it'd be similar like keeping $1,000 worth of cash on you or at your house. Like you could do that. If you lose $1,000, sucks, but your life's not over. But imagine if you had $500,000 worth of cash at your house. Yeah, a little bit different. So you really want to really utilize the full power of Bitcoin. You want to geographically disperse your coins, your keys, I should say. And if you're doing that properly, it'd be very difficult to bridge between long-term storage and something that you need today, like groceries. Like you're not going to go to the fucking bank every time that you want to spend some Bitcoin. You're just not. So what's the in-between there? You probably use a portion of your Bitcoin as collateral. You get some sort of a line of credit, which is in some currency that you want to hold it in. And that's what you use. So you're still keeping your Bitcoin locked up where it should be. It's still the perfect collateral. It's still going to continue going up forever because it's going to zero. It's going to infinity, one of the two. There's no third option there. But you're not at risk. You're not at risk of like somebody walking past you, bumping you and stealing all your assets, or somebody breaking in your house and finding your 12 words or your cold card and stealing all of your assets. So I think that for just like logically speaking here, you have to have some sort of, I don't know if you want to call it a safety net there or something there. You're going to pay for it though. Like that's the thing. It's like for anybody who wants to, I think that you're going to be able to do it. I think you're going to be able to keep your Bitcoin in cold storage, deep storage. You have kind of like a medium stack, maybe. You have a short-term liquid stack that you can buy things with. I think some people will be able to do that, but that's like less than 1% of people, right? Like think about it this way. Think about where you were when you started in Bitcoin. Think about it like you're going up the mountain and you're walking and you're learning and you're seeing things and you're experimenting, you're trying things. And you just keep going up the mountain. And the further you get, everybody else in your life is still at the bottom of the mountain. And so the further you get up, the more you assume that like everybody else knows what you know, has the same skills now that you have. But really, they're all still at the bottom of the mountain. They haven't even taken a step yet. And so that distance, as each day goes on, you get further up the mountain and they're still at the bottom. And so I think a big mistake that Bitcoiners make is that they assume that everybody knows what they know. They think that everybody's going to just be able to do what they can do. And you have to understand how long that took you to get to that point in the mountain. So it's just, I don't know. You have to have some sort of like, as much as I hate saying it, we need something like that. Again, it doesn't change anything about Bitcoin. And man, I'm so freaking over time here, but I'm kind of going with this. When you think about it this way, you're like, okay, well, Jor, if that's the case, you have all these institutions, we're still trusting people. Yes, of course, you're still gonna have to pay for that. You might have to pay fees or an insurance or a monthly fee, whatever that is, to have that sort of consumer protection. It's not free. But then you're like, okay, well, then the network's going to fail. Is it? If we're not all using Bitcoin every day, is the network going to fail? I don't think so. And the reason I don't think so is because we're moving into a world now that's decentralizing, that's nationalizing. And that's why I wanted to bring that up earlier, is because I think that when you look at the globalists in the UK and Canada and whoever else is involved in that shit show versus the nationalists like the US, China, Russia, the UAE, they're nationalists. They don't want globalism. They've made that very clear. Who holds the cards? Who has the power? US, China, Russia, UAE. They have the energy. They have the tech innovation. They're the ones who are going to win this war. The UK, Canada, they have no power. It's all abstract power. Guy wearing a fucking crown on his head thinks that he can tell me what to do. He has no power. So what does that look like then? That means that we're moving away from the centralization, away from the globalism. We're moving into a world of nationalism, decentralization. And in that world, these countries that sell products back and forth with each other, they're not going to trust each other. So they're going to have to use a network that doesn't require trust. Like, think about it. If Russia and China wanted to make a deal, there's other parties involved there. There has to be a bank in Russia. There has to be a bank in China. There has to be other intermediaries there for that to happen. Whereas Bitcoin, they don't need to. They get the oil, you send the Bitcoin back. That's what the Bitcoin mainnet is going to be used for. Things like that. It's not going to be used for buying a meal. Never was supposed to be. So the network's going to be fine because we're moving into that world where countries don't trust each other. There's no globalism. There's no one world order here or one government order. We're moving into a decentralized, nationalized version of that. And so the countries aren't going to trust each other. So they're going to have to rely on a network that doesn't need trust. So that's the kind of stuff that's going to happen on the mainnet. And there's going to be multiple layers built on top of this, all kind of tokenized, but it's still going to be no issue for Bitcoin. Because we're still not there yet. Still, people aren't using Bitcoin every day. And the network is still going like this, security-wise. So I really don't think it's a problem. The bearish case is that I just don't see a world where it's Bitcoin only. The bullish case is that Bitcoin's still going to be worth an insane amount. You're still going to be able to, you're not going to be at risk. The more you can think about this, the more you can prepare for this, the less at risk you're going to be personally. And you're still going to get all the advantage of Bitcoin, but it's not going to be as risky to you because of these other layers. I'm done. Something to think about. That's really one I want to give you. I'll probably do like a full thing on this, but I don't know when that'll be. I don't know what it'll be on, but I really just want to get you thinking, get you opening up your mind a little bit to things, of ideas. Anyways, I got to eat. I got to do the freaking Maple show. I got to set it up in about an hour and 13 minutes. So I see somebody sent a big zap here. Who the hell did this come from? There's no name attached to it. 37 minutes ago. Who sent that? A 21 with a couple more zeros on it. Who sent that? Let me know if it was you, please, before I wrap things up here, because I want to add you to, or don't, whatever you want to do. If you want to be more private, that's okay. But if you want to be added to the list here, the leaderboard, let me know, because there was no name attached to it. There's no note, nothing. But whoever sent that, thank you. Historic day today. Historic day. Probably this might have been one of the longer shows we've ever done. It was definitely the most financial support we have ever received on the show here. And we also got to witness the very first difficulty adjustment live on the show. So this is my challenge for you this weekend. If you're watching this now, if you're watching this later, join us, man. We got such good fucking people in there. I'm telling you, Bitcoin is better with friends. In this crazy, uncertain world, you want to be able to walk through this with people that you trust. It's incredibly important. And we open it up for free, so you can join the community. If you want the content, it's a little bit, it's a little bit of money, of course. Nothing's free these days, but you get the community for free. So that's my challenge for you. I see that like 4 people have joined already today that I got to let in there, but that's my challenge to you. So I got to stand up here. I got to make some food. I got to set up the maple stream. I want to say a massive thank you to our guy Sats and Sunsets today. A massive. Not only did he send in a massive zap, but a massive rant on Rumble. I'm out of voice. Might even need to take a nap here. Sats and Sunsets, Jenny, Praetorian, Paulo, Duncan, Mark, Bill, David T, Jenny, Chuck, and Maria. God bless you. And for the other ones too that I didn't see or get to, same to you. I want to know who sent that big one though at the end. Whoever it was. And we got 1845. Sorry, I missed this one. That must be from Cindeezy. Phi Zap, Zy Zap, Fry Zy Day, Bebe. What? Phi Zap, Zy Zap, Frizze Day, Bebe. Sin Diesel, the man himself with an 1845. Thank you, Sin. Okay. Well, we'll see you guys soon. Thanks again. I saw a comment here from who was it? Lauren, I think. Lauren said Jor's almost speechless. That's a good way to put it. Because you guys know that I'll never be speechless. I always have things to say. But I was pretty close today. So again, God bless. Thank you all, especially Sats and Sunsets today. Huge. I'll get this updated after. I just don't have the capacity or the time right now. It's freaking noon here. We used to end these shows at like 10, 10:30. It's noon. And I got to do another stream in an hour. So anyways, thanks everybody. I hope you have an amazing weekend. Hopefully you'll stop by and check us out on the Maple stream today. And I hope every single one of you joins the Visionaries community today. I love you all. I'll talk to you soon. And have a good weekend. Great weekend. Bye-bye.